All right, good morning. Welcome back here to Trader Renee. Great to have you aboard. I can only think of one title for this video, and that was "Ouch." Let's get to it. Let's start with Micron here, which is most certainly having a rough morning. Looks like I've been disconnected. Okay, let's see here. Let's see if that'll come on back here for us. Maybe. All right. Trying. Okay. There we go. All right, so going to back out of Micron, hitting its time stop here today. Also broke its price stop. So, this is the position that we had adjusted, that we had, taken on down. So let's cash it on out here. And I just put a market order in. It looks like Thinkorswim is having a little rough time this morning. So let's see where that puts it, or if they will fill that for me. Should be about 108, or excuse me, about 102. So let's see. Looks like that's not popping up here. Okay. I'm getting confirmation on my other screen that I'm out. So let me verify the price on that. 103. 103 was the fill there. So out of Micron here at 103. And so that leaves Netflix, which Netflix down $6 here this morning. We're still green on the option, just barely. So what are we at the option? 10.20. All right, so let's go fill that all in and see where we are at. And this exit here, 103 and 10:31 a.m. All right, there we go. So that puts the challenge. Let's see, back here around $3,000. So it has been a little topsy turvy here. What I think we were up 1,100 yesterday. We're down 1,200 today. Micron certainly not helping, but overall, this Micron trade, we ended up with a $700 gain. Right, that's our net gain there for Micron. We didn't get the secondary follow through. So that leaves us with very few trades over the last 3 months that have had secondary follow through in this market that just really has not had trend to it. It's just had a few moves and then a lot of just chop. We were able to capture this move here, but trimmed as appropriate, and then has pulled on back here a little bit more than would like to see. But you could argue, okay, gap fill, fine, all of that, but out of Micron, taking our gain and done with the trade, and we'll wait for the next setup. And it is something that with today's move, we could see. We could see a downside cross, come in 2-3 days later, an upside cross, and give us another signal off of a higher low. It would be nice to see. I'd love to trade it back up, but we'll see how that shapes up. Netflix had a great day yesterday. Was very strong yesterday, and you can see today pretty much giving up. Yesterday's gains, and putting the stock really just back to where it was when we entered. So, we get we get a kind of a chop down day, a chop up day, now a chop down day, and leaving us kind of with a net nothing. there with it. So that's where things sit. If we look at things like a Home Depot or some of the, Home Depot we had a chance to get into when we got into Netflix, you can see it's kind of in the same spot, right? It's taken a little bit of a different route, but kind of in the same spot. We just are not seeing the, some of the follow through to a lot of the watch list stocks here, and we're seeing a market itself that continues to just be this slow motion element today. A little less slow motion, down about 23 points, taking it on the chin a little bit. But anyway, that's where the challenge is. Again, the only title I knew for the video was "Ouch," because it does feel like that. Feels like a little slap in the face, a little momentum yesterday. All right, let's go. Get a little follow through. No, okay. Back to the grind, and so we'll keep on grinding on. Right? We'll keep on grinding on and keep on, chugging on here. Now, as far as new triggers are here this morning, there are no new signals on the board. If we take a look at crossovers, you can see we do have Starbucks with an upside crossover on it this morning. I'll show you what that looks like here. The gap up, and it's pretty much been fading here since. So, no signal there for Starbucks. And then if we look at the downside, I'm very curious to see if we see some bearish signals come in today. But take a look at the bearish crossovers today. It's a monster list. Alcoa, Arconic, Bank of America, CSX, EOG, FedEx, Halliburton, Juniper, Oracle, Twilio, Under Armour, UPS, Verizon, Walgreens. It's a lot. Now, a lot of these stocks have kind of been in this consolidation mode. A few exceptions, with like Bank of America and whatnot. But we're seeing a lot of kind of fall off here, and a lot of downside crossovers on the watch list. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's super bearish out there or anything like that. They're not downside signals yet, but they are downside crossovers that could materialize into signals. As we go forward, you can take a look at something like an Under Armour, a Twilio. And how they look. Twilio here, big drop here on it today. I'm very interested to dig a little bit deeper here. $100 has kind of been my investment mark here for Twilio. If it's able to get to 100, I'm starting to get curious, right? And I'm not in yet. But, breaking down below 100 nicely, is it something where I can go grab some options, for example here, and let's see if Thinkorswim will actually bring them up. It is really slow today. Not sure if anybody else is having that issue with it, but I'm not going to be patient and wait for the options to populate, but I'll be looking and going, okay, is this something where I can sell some 85 calls, some 90 calls, collect a nice premium, and essentially get a $80 or $85 entry price because of selling the puts here with it. So I'll be looking at that today. If I do pull the trigger, I'll let you know this afternoon. But I do want to go through things just a little bit more with it as we have some trade war stuff and China doubts and all of that kind of coming into the market right here. So we'll kind of just kind of see how that plays out. But Twilio here with earnings yesterday after the bell, dropping on the earnings, and we're not talking about a company that's the valuation is super compelling, but we are talking about a growth company that it's going to have a few tougher comparables. In fact, I'll show it to you here. Let's just go to Estimize. And I'll show Twilio to you here real quick. But again, I haven't gone through the report the way I want to just yet. So these are just some of the base numbers. All right. So you can see quarter three earnings minus 57%, right? So we've gone from, growing earnings 160%, 188, 233. Now, granted, it's only 7 cents a share, 4 cents a share, 5 cents a share. So going down to 3 cents a share, is a big drop, right? It's earnings okay, fine. This is a revenue-based company. But they missed a little bit, in terms of some of their revenue projections. They have some pretty high comparables, to deal with, the 80%, 70%. It's been a monster growth company, so if we see the growth slow a little bit, but we're now in a position where the stock has dropped about 40%. And so it's definitely in bear market territory in every way, shape, and form. And, it's one where, all right, the expectations aren't nearly as high. We're getting to where book value is, about $30 a share. So we're only about 3 times book instead of 5 times book. So we're starting to get to some interesting spots. Nothing that I can make an argument is super cheap or, overly compelling. But they do need to start stacking a few earnings into the revenue growth here. And with some of the acquisitions they made, that's what the hope has been, that they'd be able to do that. But so far, and again, I got to dig in a little deeper. So far, it doesn't look like they're paying off the way investors expected earlier this year, when a lot of that action was going on. All right, so out of Micron, that trade is finally closed. I guess at the beginning of that trade, if you would have told me that was the gain, I would have taken it and said, all right, thank you, onward. And so that leaves us with Netflix, which a little sour taste in the mouth today on Netflix after yesterday, but still well within parameters, and it would be nice to see it rally back a little today, and then tomorrow break above today's open price and make that secondary move here for us. Thanks for hopping on. Have yourselves a fantastic day. I'll be back on with you here this afternoon, and we'll talk to you then. Take care.